Hi, we hit 1,000 subscribers yesterday. Thank you so much. I know in the grand scheme of YouTube that I am just a very small drop in the bucket, but I can't believe that there are 1,000 of you who want to hear my silly little thoughts on books, and that just makes me very, very happy. So, hello, welcome. We're just gonna hang out and celebrate this week. We're gonna read some good books. We're gonna hang out with some good dogs. We're gonna hang out with some friends. I just felt like since we hit 1,000 subscribers last night, I just really want to share it this week with you. I'm currently reading from the library. I got the ebook. I am reading Minor Mage, which is the third book in this Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking Illuminations. I'll put all the things on the screen. They all have the same cover scheme, so I'm 90% sure they're set in the same world. And they're middle grade. It's T. Kingfisher. They're fun, cozy fantasy with a little undercurrent of darkness because this T. Kingfisher gets a little bit spooky. But it's cozy, it's middle grade, it's not gory. I'm absolutely loving this series, and especially reading them right when I wake up and right before I go to sleep. I've been having a really good time just starting and ending my day with these books because they are like simpler stories, but they are so comforting because I've read so much of T. Kingfisher's work. She's my favorite author, you guys know this. I feel like I can just really settle into her stories and have a nice cozy time. And who doesn't want to start and end their day with a little bit of magic? I definitely want that. In this book, we're following Oliver. Oliver is a minor mage, and his village is having a big drought, so they have sent him. He's a child, but they have kind of mob mentality. There are actually a lot of conversations about mob mentality in this that I think are excellent. And I really love seeing how T. Kingfisher's middle grade talks about like complicated topics like this in a really easy to understand way that I think benefits adults as well as children. He's a minor mage. His village has kicked him out to go bring the rains back. He doesn't know how to do that. He knows 3 spells, and one of them is how to stop himself from being allergic to armadillo dander because he has a familiar. His familiar is an armadillo, which is adorable. T. Kingfisher always comes through with her animal companions. He's on an adventure, hijinks ensue. I'm having a fantastic time. I just wanted to pop in here and start the vlog. I will send you back to this morning when I started my day reading that book, give a little b-roll of me working, and then I will see you when I'm done for the workday. Brings us to the end of the workday. I am meeting up with a potential puppy sitter for the boys in about an hour. My friends are getting married later this month. I'm very excited to go to their wedding, but my pet sitter that I had previously found fell through. She's not available anymore, so I need to find someone else. And my big dog, he's an anxious boy, so he requires some extra support, so I like to screen people beforehand just so he can meet them and I can see if they're comfortable with him, if he's comfortable with them, all that good stuff. I do need to chat to you about the audiobook that I have been listening to. I've been reading Bandit Queens, and I read some more of it today while I was on my lunchtime walk, and things are going in a direction that I did not expect. The premise of this is that we have this woman whose husband went missing, and everyone kind of assumed that she killed him, and she basically played along with it because she's a woman who lives alone. It can't hurt to have people be afraid of you and not want to mess with you, so she's kind of just allowed people to think that she murdered her husband. But then this woman in her village asks her to help her kill her husband. I am now 43% of the way through the book. All of that conflict and everything has sort of happened already, and now we've opened a whole nother can of worms, and I am so excited to see where this goes next. It definitely gets much more over the top and thrillery than I thought it would, and I am here for it 100%. There's also a dog in here. Our main character finds this little dog. It's this little stray dog, and she ends up saving it and adopting it, and it's very, very cute. Obviously, you guys know that I love dogs, so I'm always down for a dog animal companion in a book. She's like trying to teach the dog to attack, and it's really funny because the dog, it's just a big lover, doesn't want to attack, so I'm loving it. So I think the plan now is just go hang out with the doggies in the yard. Okay, let's go hang out outside. I just finished filming a wrap up. My feet are both very much asleep. I cannot feel either of them. I feel like I have 2 bricks strapped to my ankles. 2 painful bricks. But the reason why I wanted to chat to you is because my friend just sent me a hilarious text and I need to share it with you because maybe you have a recommendation for her. She says, do you know what I think would be a fun, steamy mystery book? An assassin on an undercover mission who's trying to seduce and assassinate her target, and she finally meets him in a bar where she's disguised as the onstage singer for a crowd at some sexy smoker's lounge. And she gets him up to his room and they're making out, and as she's feeling him up, she feels his weapon. At the same time, he feels hers and they have a face-off, and it turns out they were both hired to assassinate each other. But they have no idea who put out the hit, and they have to begrudgingly work together to figure out who's trying to kill them. And then we have the hot, steamy romance that eventually develops along the book too. I think the closest thing I've read along those lines is The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. But I feel like she's right. I feel like there is one where they're both trying to assassinate the other one. So if you guys know what that book is, put it in the comments and I will let my friend know. Thank you. Oh, also I never met the pet sitter. She had to reschedule, so I'm meeting her tomorrow instead. I'm going to go edit this wrap up and I will see you tomorrow. Good morning! Happy Friday! It's a very good day. My friends and I just got tickets to Janelle Monáe's concert and I am so excited. I've had such bad luck with Ticketmaster. I couldn't get tickets to Taylor Swift. I tried to get tickets to Hozier and my friend and I ended up paying a stupid amount of money for resale tickets to go to that show. But I did manage to get them for Janelle Monáe, so they weren't ridiculously expensive. We have pit tickets. I'm so freaking excited. And funnily enough, the Janelle Monáe concert is the day before the Hozier concert, and I think you might have to scrape me off the floor. I'm gonna be deceased. I've not seen live music in such a long time. I was a Warped Tour kid. I love seeing live music so much. And since the pandemic, I haven't seen any live music. I did go to a K-Flay concert, I think last year, and that was incredible. And I've just been itching to go to more live shows. And I'm so excited to be seeing 2 of my favorite artists of all time in the same week. That's gonna be a wild ride. I did read Janelle Monáe's collection of short stories, which it was pretty good, so would recommend if you're a fan. If you like the emotion picture that went along with the Dirty Computer album, I think you'd like the collection of short stories. Anyways, I finished reading Minor Mage last night. I loved it. It was really, really sweet and felt very Neil Gaiman-esque to me. It really did feel like a fairy tale, so I think if you like things like Stardust, then you'll really like Minor Mage by T. Kingfisher. And you can read these in any order. You don't need to read them in any specific order. The Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking, Minor Mage, and Illuminations. They're all kind of set in the same world, but none of the characters interact, so there's nothing that you'll miss out on if you read them in a different order. I hope that T. Kingfisher continues to write more in this series because I've been greatly enjoying it. The author wrote a little acknowledgements afterward in the back and talked about how she argued with her editor about whether or not this was a children's book. I just think that that really perfectly encapsulates T. Kingfisher's middle grade to me, is it feels very adult, but it is a children's book. Like, it's dark. There's violence in here. People do die. Someone makes a harp out of murder victims. It's dark, but it also, in that like Neil Gaiman way, is you feel like all the characters that you care about are going to be fine in the end, and I just think it's perfect middle grade for adults, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna use this good mood to power productivity and we can make it through Friday, and then we have the whole weekend ahead of us. Hello, it's officially the weekend. We made it, we made it. Happy Friday. I'm already in my weekend comfy clothes. I just fed the dogs, they love me right now. I've decided that I do not want to cook tonight, so I am eating some Trader Joe's frozen food. Incredible. realistically, we should spend, do you mind? Your face is like taking up half the camera here. I mean, really, we should be spending the entire evening editing. Last night I did not edit at all. I laid on the floor and I played Tears of the Kingdom and I had a fantastic time, but I didn't get the things done that I was supposed to get done. So I think tonight we really, really need to get that wrap up edited and uploaded so that that's ready to go for Sunday so that we can just vibe and enjoy our Saturday. Because I have friends coming over tomorrow and I'm very excited about it. I think before we go edit our little tushies off, I'm gonna eat and read this because I'm feeling like I want a little graphic novel moment in my life and I've been wanting to read this for literal years. So let's just do it. I'm back. I am like a quarter of the way, almost halfway through Fun Home. This is very different than I thought it was going to be. I'm just interested to see where this goes. This is my first graphic memoir. I think my brain is having a little bit of a hard time because usually when I read graphic novels, I'm reading cozy graphic novels and my brain can kind of like shut off for a little bit. But with this book, because it's a memoir, because we're talking about serious things, I feel like I need to use my brain. My brain is confused that it needs to be switched on to read it. It's definitely a me problem. I just need to turn my brain on and then I think I will get along better with it. But I'm gonna keep pushing through. Okay, let's go edit. Bye! Good morning. I just spent the past couple of hours finishing this, and I think my brain is not big enough for this book on a couple of different levels. The first level is that there's a lot of cursive writing in this, like this handwritten stuff, and it's very cool and it adds a lot to the ambiance of the story, but I cannot read it. I'm just not capable of deciphering the squiggles. It's been a long, long time since my cursive reading skills have been used. I used to be incredible at reading messy, fast cursive writing because I used to play piano and occasionally we would do these competitions and the judges' feedback would always be like impossible to read. So I used to be really good at it, but I've not flexed that muscle in many, many years and it's gone. I can't read it. So I feel like I'm missing some aspects of the story and that makes me sad. The other thing is that something that I both love and struggled with this book is the amount of literary references in here because Alison Bechdel is really exploring her relationship with her father and both of their relationships to homosexuality. And through this exploration, she talks about her family as being fictional characters. She talks about her father's love for F. Scott Fitzgerald and also for Ulysses and all of James Joyce's work. References to The Great Gatsby, I'm clued in. Most of the other literary references went so far over my head. I do have an entire English degree, but I still have not read everything in the literary canon. I think I often feel like a bit of a English degree holder imposter because I chose classes for my degree that I was interested in, and a lot of them weren't the literary canon. So I feel like I haven't read a lot of the stuff that people assume and think you have read when you say that you have an English degree. And this book just brought those feelings back up for me. I haven't read a classic, like a meaty classic, in a really long time. I used to read them in high school for fun. Like, tell me why I chose to read Crime and Punishment. It was for a class, but it was like you could pick any book, and I chose Crime and Punishment because I thought it was really cool. And it was really cool, and I'm glad that I read Crime and Punishment. But like, where is that energy in my life today? Am I just in a different season of life? I probably need to chill, and it's not that serious, and if I'm reading, I'm winning. But also, I wish that I were still that girly who read Dante's Inferno and Crime and Punishment in high school for no reason, because I just wanted to dive into a meaty text and learn. And I don't think that's me anymore. Like, I tried to read The Master and Margarita last month and I just really, really struggled with it. I don't know what the solution is, but this book made me think a lot of things. I think it was exceptionally done. I just don't know if my brain is big enough to understand all of it. I would love to study this in a class, if that makes sense. Like, I would love to have read this in an English class and talked about the relationship of literature to Alison Bechdel's life and her father's life. Talk about all the different queer identities that we're discussing in this, and the idea of a graphic memoir itself is such an interesting look at the form as well. I took like a new media class, and I think it would be really cool to have read this in there. We did read a different graphic novel in it. But Webster cannot stop licking me. I put like argan oil on my leggies after I took a shower this morning, and he loves it so much, and he won't stop licking me, and he's very cute, but I don't need to be licked. I love you very much. Please stop. Okay, that's my morning. I don't know what we're gonna do today. I have friends coming over tonight to celebrate hitting 1,000 subscribers, and I'm really happy to like share that moment with them. But during the day, my friend and I were texting last night, and we might try to rally the troops to go for a beach day. And then I could just bring a book to read on the beach. But then I realized I don't know what book I would bring to the beach, because really if I'm going to the beach, I want a big floppy paperback. I don't think I have one of those on my TBR for this month that I really want to read. We might go to the bookstore and pick up the next book in the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers, because I'm feeling the itch. It's been a month or two since I read, what's the second one? A Closed and Common Orbit, that's the second one. My local indie bookstore usually has the ones in that series. So that might be what we do today. Beach day is not happening, but I am going to go hang out with my friends, roommates, boyfriends, pool. I'm still gonna get to read a book by water, which was really what I wanted to do anyways. I just read a little bit of Heartstopper Volume 3. It's adorable, but I am gonna run to the bookstore and see if they have the third book in the Wayfarers series, because I really want to read it. So let's go see if they have it. I have some groceries to do on the way as well. I just got back. I got these incredible strawberries, and they're so good. They're giant and sweet. I love summer. I also found not just the book that I was looking for, Record of a Spaceborne Few, but also the third book in the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels trilogy series. Tell me why I did not know that that third book was out. I've been like waiting for it to release, but obviously never looked up the release date because it's already been out. So I have sunscreened my face, I've got my swimsuit on, I packed my bag with my bookies. I'm gonna take both of them to the pool. I'm so excited. I love summer. Webster really wants a strawberry. Maybe we'll give him the top. Let's go to the pool. Back from my pool day. It was a glorious time, and I read some of Record of the Spaceborne Few. I had no idea who we were following in this book. In this one, we can see some people who are related to the people who we're following in The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, but I really don't know who anyone is yet and how they all connect to each other, but I'm really enjoying it so far. There's been a big event that's happened, a big crash, like a big traumatic event. A lot of people have died, and so this is kind of showing that event from a lot of different perspectives, and then also the ramifications of that on all of these people and how they're interacting with that as they're all across the universe. I'm really enjoying it. I love Becky Chambers' writing. I have friends coming over in a few minutes. I've had everyone come up with a cocktail inspired by a book that they like, so I'm very excited for what people have come up with. I have no idea what anyone is making. I'm going to be using Legends and Lattes as my inspiration, so I'm making Irish coffees. And I also picked up some cinnamon rolls, since there's cinnamon rolls in here. I tried to find chocolate croissants to be like, what are they called? The midnight crescents. But there are definitely cinnamon rolls in here as well, so I'm really excited to just share this bookish, silly night with my friends. If I remember to take B-roll, that is what you will be seeing next. If I don't, I'll see you tomorrow.
This drink is called This is the Skin of a Killer Bella. My book, of course, is Twilight.
That was one of the most fun nights I have ever had. I had such a good time. Everyone was so creative with their little drinks. It was just so much fun. My friend also got me a cake from a bakery. I mean, look at her. Look at how beautiful that is. I love my friends. It is now already 4:30 on Sunday. I have been editing all day long. We're also on the floor because Webster's sitting in the chair, which is fine. He deserves to sit in the chair. I will sit on the floor. I was so social yesterday and I had so much fun, but my battery is empty. I have nothing left for the rest of the day. So we're just gonna take it easy. I'm gonna go watch the Formula One race. Hopefully we'll read a little bit more of Heartstopper and I'll see you tomorrow. Sully is on the case. I think I'm gonna call out sick. I'll see you later. Good morning. I do not feel good. I'm taking a sick day today. My entire body hurts. I just had a really rough night in general and I didn't get a lot of sleep and I'm paying for it. This sucks. I've been having a really great week. I had a really lovely weekend and now I feel awful. I also kind of saw this coming. I haven't been taking care of myself. I was feeling crusty on Sunday. Did I do the self-care things I needed to do to feel better today? No, I edited all day long. And that's my fault. I really hate taking sick days, but like I would be a bad employee today. If I walked over to my computer and sat down and tried to do my job, I would do it so poorly today. I walked around my house for 5 minutes this morning looking for my phone and it was in my pocket the entire time. My brain is not in here. She's gone. She left. Hi. You're a good boy. You're gonna look after mommy today. Yes, you'll be a good boy. But Nurse Webster and Nurse Sully are on the case. I'm gonna rest and recover today and see if I can do some things that are gonna set me up for success later in the week so that I can be happy, healthy, and productive. That's the goal. I'm gonna go cuddle with the doggies. I'll see you later. Sally and I just went on the most glorious walk. It was incredible. There's this huge magnolia tree and it was blooming today. It was just lovely. I had lunch earlier, but I was feeling hungry again and I have a little bit of chicken soup left, but I heated it up and now it's too hot. So while it cools down, I want to tell you about the 2 books that I finished today. I completed volumes 3 and 4 of Heartstopper and I fully had a little cry when I finished reading the 4th book. I wish that things like this had been around when I was in high school. I wish I had read this series when I was in high school. The conversations in here about love and mental health are exceptional. I just feel like the characters in here are so true to what a relationship is like when you're 16. As someone who went through similar things to what characters in these books are talking about, these very serious mental health conversations we're having about what to do when someone that you love is struggling. I wish I had a Nick's mom in my life. Charlie's struggling, they're talking about him. She's talking about things that Nick can do to make Charlie feel better. And then she follows it up by saying, but also knowing that sometimes people need more support than just one person can give. That's love, darling. And it's a beautiful aesthetic page too. Alice Oseman really did something with these and I am so happy to have finally finished all of the ones that I own. I don't know if volume 5 is out yet, but I think it's definitely not out in the paperback yet, so I'm gonna wait until I can get it in paperback so then I have a little matching set. These are lovely. I'm so happy they exist. And I wish they had been around when I was in high school because I think I would have gotten so much information that I desperately needed from these pages wrapped up in this really adorable, heartwarming, beautiful story of love. 1000 out of 10. Exceptional. I also finished reading The Bandit Queens, but my soup is now at prime temperature, so I will see you when the soup has been consumed. Soup has been ingested. I am in so much pain. My neck hurts so badly. I don't feel like supporting my own head, so this pillow's gonna do that for us. The Bandit Queens was exceptional. I want everyone who's read the Finley Donovan series to read Bandit Queens because I think you will like it even more than the Finley Donovan series. I know, bold claim. I know that series has a lot of hype, but I think it gives similar vibes, but it hits so much harder. Like the book kind of escalates into the same thing that Finley Donovan escalates into. I mean, it's got a very similar premise. Somebody thinks that our main character has killed someone and then asks her to kill again. And both books escalate from there. I think Finley Donovan escalates into like a sillier realm than The Bandit Queens does. The Bandit Queens is still over the top and it's so funny. The humor and the over-the-topness escalate at the same level, so the book just gets better and better. But it's also touching on a lot of serious themes. Like, it really goes there and covers a lot of really interesting topics. We're talking about violence against women. We're talking about motherhood. We're talking about different religions in India. We're talking about the caste system. We're talking about all of these really important topics. It's also wrapped up in this engrossing, exciting, heartwarming, hilarious, insane thriller, and I had such a good time. This book deserves all of the hype it has, plus like 10 times more hype. I want everyone to read this. Please pick it up. I loved it. The audiobook is also exceptional. I got too excited. We're going back to the pillow. You know what? I have one more book to talk to you about, but we're gonna go lay on the floor. Welcome to the floor. Webster is also here. As soon as I laid down, I felt things crack in my back and go back where they were supposed to be. So, floor, great idea. The book that I'm now reading is called The Measure. My mother and I are reading this together as a part of our book club. We read The Monk and the Robot duology last month. And so this month, she wanted to pick the book, and she decided that she wanted to pick The Measure because her friend had told her about it. So in this book, everyone gets, one day, everyone in the entire world who's over the age of 22 gets a box. And in the box is a string that has the measure of your life, and it basically tells you how long you're gonna live. And my mother says that she's like 50 pages in, and already a lot more than that has happened. That's the only synopsis that I know of. I've barely started it. I don't really know that much of what's going on. I don't really have a lot of thoughts and opinions on it, but that is what I am reading next. My battery's about to die, so I'm just gonna hang out here on the floor, and I'll see you later. I've been revived. I feel so much better. I'm so glad I took the day yesterday to rest and recover because, oh my goodness, do I feel like an entirely new person today. I would go to my job today, then I went to the grocery store, picked up everything that I needed for the rest of the week, and I made the most incredible salad. And it has just fueled me. I feel so good. I'm over exaggerating. My joints still hurt, my neck still hurts, but it's a lot better than yesterday, and I'm gonna take it as a win. I've been reading Record of a Spaceborne Few, and I am nearly done with it. I do have to say, I find this book to be a lot less cozy than the other things in this series. The first books that I read by Becky Chambers were The Monk and the Robot duology, which are very cozy, very low stakes, very no plot only vibes. The Long Way to a Small Hungry Planet envisions this world that has a lot of the same characteristics as the world in the Monk and the Robot duology. It's very inclusive. We use a lot of gender neutral pronouns. We have lots of conversations about accepting different cultures because we meet lots of different aliens. People live in different ways. There's a lot of found family, and I found the first book to be cozy even though there were life-threatening stakes. I found the second book to be even cozier than the first book because there was less plot, more vibes, and really centering around one big question about AI, and I really, really loved the second book. This one is much less cozy than the two in the series. To me, something I find incredibly uncozy is deceit. And it's not something that I like to see in the books that I'm reading for a cozy time. I'm still really enjoying this. It's an incredible sci-fi book that is cozier. I just want to give you the thorough review so you know what you're picking up if you're using my thoughts and feelings to give you an idea of what's going on here. Like the first book, we are following a whole group of characters. Like the first group, we're getting chapters from all of their perspectives. Unlike the first book, it's not immediately clear how all of these people are related, besides the fact that they are all concerned with the Exodans, the humans who left Earth. As the book progresses, it becomes more obvious how all of these people are connected. There is some deceit. It leads to a large event happening, and I did a double take. I wasn't sure that I had read it correctly because I didn't expect that out of this book. So just heads up on that. Much less cozy than the other two books in this series, in my opinion. There is still beautiful found family. There is still beautiful cultural exchange. There are lots of different cultural groups within the humans themselves, and then there are also other aliens that we're encountering who are having cultural exchange with the humans. And I just love learning about this world so much, and I really love how this series is built up and the fact that we're not staying with the same people in every book. It makes the world feel so much bigger, and I just feel so excited to read the rest of this series and just keep learning. It feels like it could go on forever because we could just grab a new group of people and keep going. I'm just having a really good time. So that's what I'm reading. That's my day. And that's it. That's the update. Bye. Happy Thursday. It's already 9:30. I'm about to go to bed, but I wanted to close out the vlog before I do that. I have some updates for you. So first update, I finished Record of a Spaceborne Few and I really enjoyed it. The ending closed all of the loose ends up in the most cozy, wholesome way, and I feel like because of that ending, I have to just come back and mention that this is still a cozy book. It's just less cozy in my opinion than the other two because deceit is a big thing for me. I think I came on a little bit too strong when I was talking about that. It just kind of threw me for a bit of a loop, but it really does still feel like a Becky Chambers. There is still a lot of found family. There are still a lot of conversations about finding your purpose, and overall, I really enjoyed this one. I know I haven't been updating you much over the past couple of days, but I have been reading like a maniac. So I read half of The Measure, which is the book club book that I'm reading with my mother, and I don't really have much to say about it. We're having a lot of conversations about making the most of life and whether or not you want to know how long you're going to live and the government's reaction to everything. And it's all very interesting conversations. I think my overall enjoyment of this book is going to come down to how it ends and the opinion that the book has about everything. I think I could either love it or hate it or give it a 3-star. I really don't know, so I don't think I have many coherent things to say to you. It's all going to come down to how it ends. Which is the same that I felt about The Midnight Library. If that book had ended in a different way, I probably would have hated it. And this book is for fans of The Midnight Library, so I don't know, maybe it's gonna end in a similarly satisfying way to my brain. Non-reading update. I switched out my nails. I'm now wearing these, and I kind of hate them. I don't know if I am a press-on nails girly. The problem that I'm having is the nails are too long. I hate having nails this long, and it was also really difficult to take the other ones off. I had them on for almost 2 weeks, and I was ready to take them off. A couple of them had popped off, but I like glued them back on, and then when it came time to take them off, I was soaking them in oil and water, warm water like you're supposed to. I could not get them off. Some of them came off really easily, some of them did not, and I had like 3 nails that were stuck on at the end that I really could not get off, and that stressed me out so much, and I ended up damaging some of my nails trying to get them off. So that's been my experience with Glamnetic nails. I had ordered these before I took the other ones off, so I thought, okay, well, let's just, let's give it a try. Maybe I'll like these better. I kind of hate them. This is the other problem that I'm having. They're too pointy, and so I file them down to make them more of like a natural nail shape. With this type of design, it looks odd when you file it down because there's not enough. Obviously the design is only on the tip of the nail. So if you file all of that away, they're left with nothing, and it looks strange if that's too thin. Here's my dream. Glamnetics releases more shorter, I think they call them super short or something. The shorter style, or even the short ones, but that I can file down, that it doesn't make the design look weird, in darker neutral colors. That's my dream. If they come out with those, I will try them again. Otherwise, I think this is my last time using them. I have 2 more actually book-related things to tell you about. So first is I started reading Her Body and Other Parties, which are short stories by Carmen Maria Machado. The first story in here I have read, I think, at least twice, maybe even 3 times. My battery died. But we're back. This story is one of my favorite short stories I've ever read. It's inspired by this, I think it's like a scary stories to tell in the dark, some type of like children's story about a woman with a ribbon around her neck. And it's the first story in this collection, and I didn't realize that this was the story that was in this collection. I read this short story in a creative writing class my senior year of college, and I loved it. I found it to be so interesting and so profound, and we had such a good conversation about it in class, and I really enjoyed returning to it now. I feel like there's just so many layers to this story about men wanting to control everything and that women can't have anything that is just ours. There's conversations about the husband stitch. Actually, that's what it's called. It's called The Husband Stitch, I believe, this short story. It's incredible. Highly recommend checking it out. Basically, we're following this woman as she meets this man, and then they end up developing a relationship. They get married. She has a child. The doctor does a husband stitch situation, but mostly it's about this woman and this ribbon that she has around her neck, and this man really wants to touch and untie the ribbon. She tells him no, he can't do that, and it's basically the story of how that plays out throughout the relationship, and it's incredible, and I loved it. I've read a couple of the other stories in here. None of them have hit as hard as that one did, but I'm still really enjoying all of them. I really love this author's writing, and I'm excited to pick up more from them in the future. They don't really fit into any particular genre. They're all pretty graphic in some way, and unsettling, uncanny, weird. I'm just having a really good time reading one short story as I go on a walk, and then just like spending the rest of my walk thinking about it. And then when I go on a different walk, I put on a different story. It's my favorite way to ingest short story collections, and I'm just really enjoying my experience. So I'm a quarter of the way through that book, but I also felt an itch to read some nonfiction. So I did try Gulp Adventures on the Elementary Canal, and I wasn't loving it. So I switched over to On Trails and Exploration by Robert Moore. Both of these are science writing nonfictions, and I was really drawn to On Trails because I'd read Wild by Cheryl Strayed. That book is about the author's experience hiking the PCT, and this book is somewhat about the author's experience hiking the Appalachian Trail, but also it's about trails in general and kind of an exploration of not just human-made trails, but also animal-made trails and trails throughout history. And I've barely started reading it. I think I'm like 6% of the way in, but I'm enjoying it so far. And that's it. This is where I'm gonna end the vlog. Thank you so much for celebrating this really big milestone with me. I am so thankful to each and every one of you who watches. I'm gonna do a little bonus video Q&A situation. So if you have questions for me, you can put them in the comments of this video. I did a little question box on Instagram, and there's a community post floating out there, but if you haven't seen that and you still have questions that you want to ask, you can put them in the comments of this video, and I will just sit down, we'll chat, and we'll answer a bunch of questions, and that'll be up, I think, on Wednesday. I love our little corner of the internet. I'm so happy it's growing. I can't wait for it to grow even more. I post every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, so I will see you next time. Bye!